Hello and welcome to the Antiquarian Outlook for week 16 of 2026, starting April 13th. I'm Spencer W. Stuart, Collections Advisor, author of Contemporary Issues and Rare Books in Manuscript Collecting, and host of the monthly webinar Collecting Insights. For more details on my services, publications, and programs, follow the links below. On to last week's results. Monday, Bonhams had prints and multiples. There were 215 lots offered, of which 183 sold, making for an 85% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 59, a lino cut by Picasso from 1962. Estimates were set at $120,000 to $150,000 US, realizing just below $280,000 US. A buy-in of note, lot 60, again Picasso, an aquatint print from 1952. Estimates were set at $300,000 to $500,000 US. On to Tuesday, Artcurial had the Library of Jean Bourdel, Part 3. There were 160 lots offered, of which 159 sold, making for a 99% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 367, a 2-volume early print book of Tristan Christie's of the Round Table. Estimates were set at 10,000 to 15,000 euros, realizing just above 160,000 euros. A lot that exceeded expectation was 348, Monstralet's Study of Europe, published in the early 1500s. Estimates were set at 5,000 to 7,000 euros, realizing just below 45,000 euros. Next sale, Galerie Bassenge had rare books and manuscripts. There were 898 lots offered, of which 458 sold, making for a 51% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 1067, Fridoline's Treasure Repository, from 1491. Estimates were set at 50,000 to 80,000 euros, realizing 50,000 euros. A lot that exceeded expectation was 1065, this richly gilt Ottoman pocket Koran from 1867. Estimates were set at 2,800 to 5,000 euros, realizing 13,000 euros. Next sale, Sothebys had prints and photographs, Part 1. There were 73 lots offered, of which 61 sold, making for an 83.5% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 43, this Picasso aquatint from 1952. Estimates were set at 150 to 250,000 US, realizing 435,000 US. A lot that exceeded expectation was 62. Roy Lichtenstein's Explosion from Portfolio 9, done in 1967. Estimates were set at 15,000 to 20,000 US, realizing 83,200 US. Next sale, Christie's had prints and multiples. There were 192 lots offered, of which 165 sold, making for an 86% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 37, Roy Lichtenstein's Nude with Blue Hair from 1994. Estimates were set at 400,000 to 600,000 US, realizing 762,000 US. A few buy-ins of note, lot 2 to 4, prints by Warhol from the Campbell's Soup series. All estimates set at 50,000 to 70,000 US. A lot that exceeded expectation was 116, Escher's Concentric Rinds from 1953. Estimates were set at 30,000 to 50,000 US, realizing just below 178,000 US. On to Wednesday, tenants had books, maps, and manuscripts. There were 136 lots offered, of which 131 sold, making for a 96% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 137, this extensive collection of stereo views from all over the world. Estimates were set at 800 to 1,200 pounds, realizing 3,200. A buy-in of note, lot 49, Mackenzie's Voyages from Montreal on the River St. Lawrence. First edition, published in 1801. Estimates were set at 600 to 900 pounds. A lot that exceeded expectation was 119, a collection of approximately 69 manuscript documents from 16th to the 19th century. Estimates were set at 80 to 120 pounds, realizing 550. Next sale, Adair had photographs online. There were 313 lots offered, of which 167 sold, making for a 53% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 260, Murayama's Tights from 1987. Estimates were set at 400 to 600 euros, realizing 1,250. A lot that exceeded expectation was 105, Gio's Night from 1926. Estimates were set at 200 to 300 euros, realizing 860. Next sale, Cadem Auctions had rare and important items. There were 106 lots offered, of which 99 sold, making for a 93% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 60, Commentary on the Torah by Yaakov from 1514, first edition. Estimates were set at 300 to 400 US, realizing 129,500 US. A buy-in of note, lot 68, the selected glosses of Rabbi Avram Klausner, published in 1558, first edition. Estimates were set at 12,000 to 15,000 US. A lot that exceeded expectation was 28. This Torah pointer from the late 19th century St. Petersburg, produced by Wigstrom for the Fabergé Company. Estimates were set at $10,000 to $15,000 realizing just above $84,000. Next sale, RR Auctions had fine autographs and artifacts. There were 616 lots offered, of which all of them sold. Highest price realized was lot 13, an unissued orchestra ticket from the Ford Theater, the date that Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Bidding was set to start at $10,000, realizing just above $83,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 174, Warren Buffett's signed Berkshire Hathaway 2005 annual report. Bidding was set to start at $1,000, realizing just above $20,500. Next sale, Doyle, New York, had rare books, autographs, and maps. There were 470 lots offered, of which 437 sold, making for a 93% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 136, an autographed signed letter by Thomas Jefferson concerning the arrest of Toussaint Louverture, dated June 23, 1802. Estimates were set at $20,000 to $30,000, realizing $32,000. A buy-in of note, lot 112, a typed letter signed with mathematical ink annotations by Albert Einstein. Estimates were set at $20,000 to $30,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 410, Barbarian Press's edition of Shakespeare's The Play of Pericles, Prince of Tyre, published in 2010. Estimates were set at $1,000 to $1,500, realizing just above $12,000. Next sale, Swan Galleries had old masters through to modern prints. There were 380 lots offered, of which 286 sold, making for a 75% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 202, Martin Lewis's Circus Night, a dry point from 1933. Estimates were set at $15,000 to $20,000, realizing $20,000. A buy-in of note, lot 304, this Pablo Picasso aqua tint from 1968. Estimates were set at $10,000 to $15,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 160, this Enzor etching and dry point from 1896. Estimates were set at $5,000 to $8,000, realizing $15,000. Next sale, PBA Galleries had rare and antiquarian books. There were 373 lots offered, of which 217 sold, making for a 58% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 6, this first Aldean edition of Machiavelli from 1540. Estimates were set at $3,000 to $5,000, realizing just below $47,000. A buy-in of note, lot 78, John Forster's The Life of Charles Dickens, published between 1872 and 74. Estimates were set at $15,000 to $25,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 8, again an Aldean edition of Pliny the Younger from 1508. Estimates were set at $600 to $900, realizing $4,687. Next sale, in South Africa, Antiquarian Auctions had books, maps, and photographs. There were 263 lots offered, of which 106 sold, making for a 40% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 12, King's Kerry, a first UK edition from 1974. Estimates were set at $1,100 to $1,200, realizing just below $2,800. On to Friday, Sothebys had books, manuscripts, and objects from 3 important collections. There were 115 lots offered, of which 113 sold, making for a 98% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 91, Lactantius's Opera from 1465, a first edition. Estimates were set at £300,000 to £400,000, realizing just below £333,000. As well as lot 92, Le Roman de Rose from 1481. Estimates were set at £200,000 to £300,000, realizing again just below £330,000. A buy-in of note, lot 113, Oscar Wilde's Manicure set. Estimates were set at £10,000 to £15,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 35. This presentation manuscript of Greco, dated 12th February 1620. Estimates were set at £20,000 to £30,000, realizing just above £115,000. Well, that's been the week from here. What'd you think of last week's results? Anything surprise you? Anything you had your eye on? Make sure to put some comments below and we'll keep the conversation going. Remember, if you want to stay up to date, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on your notifications, and let others know about this program. In the news, registration remains open for the May sessions of Collecting Insights at the Emerging, Expanding, and Legacy levels. As always, registrants will receive a complimentary copy of Contemporary Issues and Rare Books and Manuscript Collecting. If you have any questions about the course content, don't hesitate to get in touch. We look forward to hearing from you. For a hyperlinked list of next week's auctions we have an eye on, please get in touch with us directly. The Antiquarian Outlook is totally independent. Its producers do not hold inventory, nor do they represent any consignments or acquisitions mentioned. Thanks again for tuning in. All for now, and we'll see you next week.